Okay, so we are alive. And so we are going to meet here probably an hour and 15 minutes, something like that. And I am supposed, in an hour and 15 minutes, to know who you are and to come with some idea of, that is very, very bright, of how you can be more harmonious, complex, better than you are now. So you will need to help me. I have quite a task. Who wants to start? And you begin to tell me why did you come to Valerie and why do you stay with her?
I will. We came to Valerie because I had hit a point in my life where Jeff and I were playing some pretty destroying games with each other. And I had reached a crisis point to where I was either going to send him to live on the moon or away to boarding school, or something had to change.
Who was going to go to boarding school,
Me.
you or him?
I'm not entirely sure.
At that time, I probably would have gone too. But it reached a point to where we needed some kind of help in order to not destroy each other. Our relationship is not. There is love there, but there's also a lot of hurt there. And we came to Valerie at that point because...
Both of you?
Well, actually it was Bob and Jeff and I went to a session for, to get some ideas on what we could do at that point. And it was suggested that by Valerie at that point that because I was in crisis, that I see her on a weekly basis and that she would see the family, everybody who happens to be in the house at that time, on a monthly basis.
That were, it included you.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we started doing, and we are still going because there still are some strides that need to be made, but I think there have been a lot already.
Okay. So, tell me how do you see it?
Yeah. I pushed to get them going someplace because I was pretty much at my wit's end. I had manipulated their relationship and manipulated my relationship with Jeff every possible way that I knew how to get some kind of resolution.
What is what you wanted? Means, in the best of all worlds, what do you want to change? Let me just go and bring that so that you can put the flowers in it.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
So you will not have it. Okay. What do you want to do?
My sense of their relationship was that the two of them were so wrapped up in whatever this game was that they played, and I don't know other language to use, that it precluded the possibility of Donna and I having a real good relationship of our own because there was so much energy that was going into that. Our relationship was characterized by Jeff is doing this and Jeff is doing that. And then followed by my awareness of Jeff was in fact doing that and doing other things. And it was all just kind of out of control. I should suggest that my relationship with each one of my children, and I include all of them in that category, has gone through similar kinds of stages. There's been some need for me to play a policeman and redirect their efforts.
Is a policeman between whom and whom? Or
The role of policeman with everybody who happens to be involved with the family at that point.
okay. How do you see that thing? Your name is Bob?
Bob.
Bob, yeah. You two, you are both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do you see? Because apparently you, how do you call him?
How do I?
Yeah, how do you call him? Dad? Or,
Dad.
Or you call him Dad? And you also call him Dad? Okay. Apparently Dad felt that your mom and Jeff were in some kind of thing, I don't know what. What's happening? Tell me, because they are such a complicated talkers that I don't understand what they are saying. So I want a straight talker.
Maybe you're wrong family.
Are you a straight talker or not?
I'll try.
Okay.
There's been a lot of continuous battling, almost like who's going to be in charge of the family. And with Dad being gone a lot, it seemed like most of it was going on between Mom and Jeff. And then when Dad got home, he was in charge. But when he wasn't home, it was up to Mom and Jeff to decide who was going to be in charge.
What were you doing?
Staying gone.
Huh?
Staying gone. Stay at school, go to a friend's house.
That means you
Well,
you
I
move
tried
out
to stay, no, I was still living at home, but I tried to stay gone as much as I could.
so that you were giving the ring to these two people.
Yeah.
But you were.
But whenever I walked in the house, I was right in the middle of it also.
Were you in the middle, or are you just an onlooker?
I was in the middle of it. I get drawn into it real fast. Like if Mom and Jeff are arguing, I get into the argument really fast. Because
Jeff,
everybody starts yelling at
is he a
everybody.
pain in the neck? Is he in your? He takes Mom's side.
Sometimes. A lot of the time he will.
What are they talking about? You know, it seems as if you're a pest. What kind of pest are you? Is that what they are talking about? I don't know.
Yeah. See, is what my dad always says. He says, I'm a master manipulator.
Who says that?
My dad,
You're a master manipulator?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
I can manipulate very well.
Are you doing a job on me now?
No. They,
What does he mean by that?
when, I guess me and my mama get in fights, and I'll manipulate my way out of it, or I'll ask her for something, like to go out for a couple hours with my friends or at night when my dad's not home, and she'll say no. Well, come on, Mom. You know,
What's wrong with that?
antagonizing her.
What's wrong with that? I don't understand. Why is that wrong? What's what you do that is wrong? You want to go out?
I keep asking her,
Yeah.
and I keep fighting her. And I fight until I get my own way. And once I get my own way, I'm happy about it.
What's wrong with that? I try that also. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. Is the wrong thing that you're always succeeding, or what?
The wrong thing is that I'm always trying, and that I'm not getting along with my mom half the time.
Talk with your mom so that I understand what are you talking about. Can you talk a little bit with your mom, and so that maybe you can describe together some situation, and maybe a situation in which you also know what happened, so that I can get some idea of how you see things. You two are not part of the family, really. You are what? Observers? That means you're part of the family, but you don't live there.
Yeah.
Had you observed this thing, or
I used to live in the
periodically,
family.
a little bit.
you used to be part of
Yeah,
the
I
family?
moved out a couple years ago, but I did live with this entire family.
Oh, for how long?
2-3 years?
Oh, okay. So you know. And what about you?
Oh God.
In and out.
Yeah, in and out pretty much, summers and.
Okay. Then please let them start. And Andrea, you had been with this family for how long?
I lived with them for about a year.
You had been with them for a year?
Yeah.
Okay, so you five start discussing some issue that consult each other so that you can tell me, I can see.
You mean like act out one of our...
No, first start discussing it, and then I will find out something. I want concreteness, you know, you are a generalist, and so I just get I want to understand that in a much more concrete way.
Okay. Everybody looks at Bob.
Everybody start at once now.
Why don't we talk about, let's pick an area. Let's talk about the tools or the jobs as it specifically relates to Jeff. I'm trying to think of a specific incident in which we were all involved in kind of feeding that back in. Why don't we talk about the jobs themselves and somehow how the clothes keep getting shoved or have been shoved under beds and that kind of thing.
Or in drawers.
What do you think about that? Is that
That's
something that's going to let us all participate in that a little bit?
Sure.
Why not?
Did I push anybody's button with that?
Mhm.
Maybe,
Well,
go ahead.
one of the things that we have at our house is that the kids each have chores to do. And we live in an upstairs house, so what we have done until Andrea moved back in a few weeks ago, there were the two kids, and one would do the upstairs chores and one would do the downstairs chores. And it does seem to be a big issue with Jeff mostly, although Bobby has gotten in on it a couple of times too, that one of the downstairs jobs is to fold the clothes when they come out of the dryer. And I think what Bob is referring to is when you're missing all your clothes, so you go downstairs and you find them either shoved under the bed or shoved in a closet or shoved in a drawer, so that he can then say that, yes, I did my job, and you go down and check and there's no clothes on his bed, so that the job has been done. But in essence, what he does about 90% of the time, maybe 80, is that he shoves them in his drawer. Well, first he shoved them under his bed, and we found those, and then I even found them shoved in the hall closet one time. But this is one of the things that seem to...
Is that he does the clothing of everybody or only his?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Okay.
His job is to fold the clothes after they've been washed and come out of the dryer. And it's everybody's, and he just...
Who puts the clothing in
He
the dryer?
puts the
Who puts the clothing in the washing machine?
Usually Bob or I,
It'll vary between one or the other.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And then, what's your job?
My job is to check the washing machine. If there's clothes that need to be dry, put them in the dryer. If there's clothes that are already dried, take them, fold them, and if there's clothes that need to be washed, wash them.
Mm-hmm.
And every week that changes, because I'll have the downstairs for 1 week and then the upstairs for 1 week. And starting Sunday, I'll have the downstairs.
And what's the problem?
Problem is that there's been a job assigned that is not being completed in a manner that is satisfactory to me and I believe to Don.
Mhm.
And we have talked with Jeff about it, and I have done
Can you talk a
substantially.
little bit louder?
I'm sorry. I have talked to Jeff about it, and I have done substantially more than just talk to him about it. I have spanked him, I have threatened him, I've considered putting him on a plane to Texas, because it's been a continuing problem for some period of time. And I have been unable to convince him to finish the job. You know, that absolutely nothing is accomplished other than to incur my anger by taking the clothes and hiding them under the bed. And that seems to be symptomatic of several areas, but that's specifically what's taking place.
And do you get away with it, Jack? That means, what happened once you put the clothing under the bed? What happened then?
Usually, they'd get thrown on my bed at night.
Who does that?
Whoever takes them out, Bobby, Andy, Mom or Dad, they throw them on my bed. So I won't go down in my bedroom and check or anything like I'm supposed to. And at night when I go to bed, I won't want to fold them. So I just set them on the couch or something, and in the morning I get up and I don't have time to do my vacuuming and then to fold my clothes and then get off to school on time. So I just usually shove them in a drawer or something until I get home, and then most of the time I'll fold them every once in a while. But by the time I get home, my bed's probably standing up on end, my couch is probably standing up, and all my stuff is tore up.
Who does that?
My dad, it's like he sees through things because he can always find it.
I continue.
He always can find it. Every time I do that, because I don't really do it very much anymore. Because he'll walk in and if he's missing a pair of his shorts, you know, my room's the first place they'll check. And it's usually the place they are.
And so what do? You come to your room and your bed is standing up. So what happened?
I vacuum my room, I clean my room, I fix it all back up, fold the clothes, and then do my job regularly for a week. And
So-
then again I'll do
So
that.
it seemed, what's wrong with that system? It seemed to me that you had found a way of having everything functioning okay. What, do you want to change that?
Well, I'd have to disagree with the word okay. Everything functions, but
Yeah.
it's not okay when I'm required to continue reinforcing behavior that I think you should be able to accept and recognize as responsibility to the family. It is functioning. I would have a
And I-
question, okay.
I think one of the things that really bothers me the most about it is, instead of going down and checking and just saying, Jeff, did you do your job? And he lies about it and says yes. That the lying is the part that gets to me the most. And the clothes,
Is Bob very strong, your husband?
yes.
Means he can pull the bed
Yeah, he's strong that way, and he's strong personality-wise also.
in what way?
He's very strong. He's tends to take control. I'm pretty wishy-washy, and I needed somebody strong. That was good.
That means you selected him because
No,
he
that
initiates things?
yeah, that was not really one of the things I thought about when I selected him. But I
feel like he's a
yeah, great A. And I am not real consistent with the kids, and I am not a real strong, what is the word? Disciplinarian.
Mhm.
I'm.
And let's imagine that Bob would not do this strong man act that he does. What do you do? It's how do you apparently you travel because
I think Bobby was just making reference to being gone during the day.
Okay, so you are away working. What you have a job, you finish, you come back home, what, 6 o'clock or something like that?
It depends. I sometimes have evening appointments, that kind of thing. I'm involved in real estate finance, so sometimes I meet with clients in the evening.
So when he's away, how do you manage that?
Not very well.
But how?
Yeah, when something comes up that I need to handle, like with Bobby, I can just say yes, no, or anything, and it sticks 99% of the time. I don't have a problem. But when it comes to Jeff, he pushes all my buttons. And
Talk with Jeff now, try to understand why doesn't he hear you and Bob does.
ask Jeff,
Yeah.
why don't you hear me when I say no, Jeff?
I do.
Why don't you react to that?
Because I don't like,
Is it the fact that I tell you no that you don't like, or is it just the fact that you've got to keep the turbulence going all the time?
fact you say no.
You hate being said no to that much?
Yeah, because it's always, most of the time now, it seems to me, that everything I do, it's always no.
Well, I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent and not give in after the 10th no and say yes.
But it's always no.
I'm getting better. Do you think that the times that I say no, that you're really being put upon? I don't feel that I say most of the things that you kids want to do. I don't feel that we really restrict you that much. I don't think when I say no to you that it's unreasonable. Is it just the fact that you're not in control, and when I tell you no, you don't get your own way? Or is there something else behind it?
don't
I
know.
haven't figured that out yet. I can't tell what it is. Sometimes I think it's just because I tell you no and that just pisses you off. because you don't get your own way. In other ways, I feel like it's because you just want some attention. And it's usually negative attention.
Because you piss me off.
That's it? You just flat don't like to be told no?
Well, for some things, you tell me no. You know, because you have rights to. But I mean, like if I wanted to go over to Chris's house, or if I wanted to go see someone, and I have a half hour or something, and I ask for a half hour or something, you'll say no. A lot of the time. And every once in a while, half and half, just 50% of the time you'll say no, 50% of the time you'll say yes.
I get the sense sometimes when I tell you no that you feel that if you keep hammering at me long enough, I'm going to give in. Because that's usually the way I've always been.
That's what it's like sometimes.
I mean, do you have that thought in your head? I've always wanted to ask you that.
Sometimes, every once in a while, not all the time.
The thought is there that if you say it enough times, I'll give in?
Sometimes. Sometimes I'll even do it when I don't even know I do it.
Just a habit.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you tell me no, I even explain to you why, thinking that just saying no would really tick you off. So if I tell you why I feel no, that then maybe you would accept it better, that my opinion of why you shouldn't do something would be more acceptable. Is that better when I do that? If I give you a reason why no instead of just saying no, then do you think that I might be hearing your side of it more?
Probably. Instead of just, no, forget it, that's it, okay? Leave me alone. That's the way it is.
That's the way it is.
Can you talk with Bob now about anything that you want to talk together or select whatever you want to talk?
Talk to Bobby.
Yeah.
Hi.
You had, how long were you with the kids after your separation from
After
your
my
husband?
divorce?
Before you joined us?
I was separated from my husband probably for a little over a year. He was in Texas before I even filed for divorce.
Okay.
And then I was single for about a year and I remarried again, not to Bob. Bob is my third husband.
Uh-huh.
And I was married to that man, and he was in the house with the kids for about two and a half years. And then I was single with the kids alone again for about a year and a half before Bob and I got married. But Bobby, right from the very beginning, he was about 7 when his father and I split up. When his father left, before that first part before we got divorced. Jeffrey was still quite young. He was about a year and a half. And Bobby and I have always had a relationship. I think now, in looking at it, I think he has stuffed 90% of it all. But he has always been, I can tell Bobby no, or I don't think I have to tell Bobby no that much, do I? And
You
it's
don't say no that much.
it's just been that we have a real good relationship. We share a lot. I'm trying to think of some times that I do tell you no. When I tell him no, he accepts that. I think he tended to take over being the male of the
Do
family.
you work always so hard?
Pardon?
Are you always such a hard-working person?
Hard-working person for what?
Here you are doing the 2 parts of the conversation.
You mean controlling the whole thing?
No, not controlling, working hard.
I think so. Yeah. I
And-
tend to do that.
And when you had, in your previous marriage, Jeff was a very young kid then,
Mm-hmm.
2 years old. And that lasted 2 years.
My second marriage did, yes.
And were you very close with Jeff during that period? Was it very difficult, the marriage?
Yeah, the marriage itself was difficult, and I think I was united with the kids because it was kind of the 3 of us against him. Period.
Well,
Yeah. That's the way it was.
You felt also?
Yeah.
Yeah,
close.
it was, I guess it was during Mom's second marriage that I found out that as soon as I turned 12, legally I could decide which of my two parents I wanted to live with. And I was kind of waiting for my birthday so I could go move in with my dad. But their marriage, my mom's second marriage, split before then, before I turned 12. And then I ended up moving out anyways. I moved in with my dad.
And then you moved out with your dad.
Right, for about a year. And Jeff
About a
was
year
there.
and a half.
Yeah, Jeff and I both moved out in with our dad.
Jeff also went.
Yeah, it was like if I moved, they wanted Jeff to go with me. They didn't like want to split us up.
This was after you were married or not?
No.
No, this was with
This
the
was-
second, right after the second marriage.
Right, there,
Between the second and the third marriages,
they,
during that year and a half or whatever.
you spent the school year at Dad's.
Yeah, I spent one school year with my father. I moved in at the end of the, just
Both of
before.
you?
Right.
You also, Jeff?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
We moved in just before school started and then moved out
Okay.
during the summer after that school year.
Okay.
Moved back in with Mom. And then that was with, the two of them had moved in to a house. And
So you
they
had
moved in also.
a short period without the children?
Right, we switched and the kids, I got them on weekends and they stayed with their dad.
Mhm. And where were you?
In Reading.
But were you,
We were not together at that time. When
you
we-
were not together?
Yeah.
So
When we
you-
moved in together, within a couple of 3 days, we had these two boys and these two boys
Permanent.
permanent. Within a couple of days of Donna and I moving in
Okay.
together.
So you have some of these terrible things that happen with modern marriages. How long did you know each other before you needed to deal with these 4 people?
We met in January. We moved in together in May, and the boys were with us, was it May? Yeah.
End of May.
End of May, I
First of
think it
June.
was. And during that period of time, we had just essentially dated.
Uh-huh.
That relationship had been very much an on-again, off-again kind of thing. We'd kind of get close and we'd go back and get close and go back. And I'm not sure I understand even yet why it was we decided to move in together. I think it was a whim. The house that I had liked an awful lot came on the market, and it just kind of seemed the thing to do at that time.
She came as part of a real estate.
Well, not
deal.
quite, but it was
That and what
almost,
your
it
kids,
may have been, yeah.
There were a lot of really weird
The boys were coming down
to visit.
that summer.
You, Andrea, you stayed with your mom?
Yeah. She didn't come into it until later.
Okay. And you came and lived with these 2 for 2 years?
Mhm.
See, David was
that-
with us for
And
about
was
7
it-
months.
Was it terrible? How was it?
No, it wasn't terrible. There were growing pains just moving in with each other, trying to, how to deal with each other because I had just pretty much met Donna. So
Once.
being with, meeting Donna and living with Bobby and Jeff was all new, just
We
trying
were all,
to meet each other.
The kids had
we all
never
just
even met each
kind
other.
of moved in
Yeah.
together and we hadn't
Yeah.
even met before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was,
That-
How was that?
well,
Interesting.
I had come,
Expensive.
right after they moved in together, Jeff and I were still living with our father. And we'd come to spend the weekend with them at the new house, right after they'd moved in together. And I'd kind of established my boundaries. I got my room picked out, and that's what's gonna be my room.
Large house or?
Well,
No, it's just
3-bedroom
3
house,
bedroom.
but Jeff was gonna have one of the rooms, and I was gonna have another one of the rooms. And we knew that we were gonna be sharing with somebody, but that didn't kind of, I didn't think about that at the time. I went and got my bedroom and I fixed it up the way I
Well,
wanted it.
they were only supposed to be there for a month.
Well, yeah, but, and then I left for a week, okay? And then that next weekend, we all moved in, or Jeff and I moved in. And during that week that I was gone,
They moved in.
they moved in, okay? And suddenly I'm sharing this room with Dave over here, who I'd never met. And,
Your name?
I'm Chris.
no, he's Chris, he's Dave. You know,
Why was that?
because we were so close in age. Okay, that's why we were sharing the room.
That was a
Think-
decision.
Yeah, because
that
we were
they
so
did.
close to in age that we figured we'd get along real well.
Yeah.
And
What a
But,
it was a terrible thing.
well, I walked into what was my room.
And I'm
Okay,
living on
and
his
he's
bed.
on my
But
bed.
I thought it was my room.
Okay.
So right off the bat, we got
automatic
into it.
conflict right there.
Yeah, and how did you resolve it?
Still
Who
working
hit-
at it.
Who hit whom? And
Nobody
who-
hit anybody
No.
that day.
Not that day.
In fact, we've never hit each other. Just yelled a lot.
Yeah, we've never,
Why not? How, who enters before you destroy each other? Or how do you resolve it?
I don't know, maybe something
I don't
else comes
think
up
we've
that
ever
takes our
really-
attention away.
I don't think we've ever really been into a real argument.
Well, we've
Yeah,
been mad at each other, but we haven't been mad to the point where we actually wanted to go to blows at it. Actually wanted to hit the other person.
No.
It's more like, well, I don't want to see you right now, so I'll leave and come back later.
When you have a conflict, do they enter or?
Sometimes, but sometimes.
I don't
you call
remember.
them as
I don't remember
arbiters,
one
as
time when they've
judges?
ever entered when we've been in an argument, except for one time. One time I do remember well.
Look at your memory's fading.
God, I guess.
This sounds pretty good.
No, between Bobby and I only remember one time, really, and that's when I had gone someplace for something or other. And I came back, and he had all the boxes, because our room was cluttered with boxes, on one side of the room. And I didn't like it, so we got into a big conflict.
Our room was kind of like the storage area for all the boxes that hadn't been unpacked yet, that there was no place to put them. And I got tired of them, so I built shelves out of them at one end of the room between our beds. His bed was on that side of the room, mine was on that side, and between the two of them against this wall, I built the shelves out of the boxes. And I guess he had already had them one way, how he wanted them, and then I went and moved them to the other end of the room.
What happened?
And so we got in, we yelled a little bit, I guess, and Papa walks into the room and blows his top at me, and Bobby had left, and he was blowing his top at me, and
Why
and
at-
finally we got it resolved with
Why at
him
you?
winning.
Why at you? Why not Bobby? He had made it.
I left.
Because I was getting upset. I was the one that was upset about the whole thing.
Yeah, but you were right.
I don't know about that. It was just
It's why
something that I didn't agree
Why
with.
did he? Didn't you think it was unfair that he should chastise you and he went scot-free? I don't understand.
Yeah,
I didn't go scot-free on it. We had to agree on something. I think we actually got the boxes out of the room. We put them somewhere else, or unpacked them, or did
No,
something.
They've
when
got
we moved
put
out, they were
mine
still in the same
Christmas
place. We left him in his spot. I lost the battle.
I thought,
Papa
and this is
got
just a
put
vague recollection, my sense was that we tried to work out some kind of an agreement that was acceptable to both of you. Now, that may just be a pipe dream, but that was my sense of what took place.
But
I
that-
don't think I said that we will do it this way. Maybe I did. I don't know.
Well,
Probably at that time I would have said.
Uh-huh.
we will do it this way.
At
Yeah.
the same time, you picked up my bike and said, "Is this too cluttered for you?" And you threw it at the window, which hit the wall and landed on the bed.
Would I do something? Yeah, I probably
Yes, you did.
yeah.
You did.
It kind of-
You were real upset.
I don't remember that.
Dave and I have this thing about we'll go up against each other, and then 5 minutes later it's over and it's forgotten. We don't really carry on things for a long time.
Okay, the second room you shared with Jeff,
Mm-hmm.
Lord.
and how was that?
It was real trying at times because I was so much older. I wanted my own privacy,
Yeah.
and I was sharing with someone not only that I was sharing with someone, but someone who was so much younger.
Yeah.
That it's not like we could talk and share a lot. And I think there were probably problems about who was putting whose clothes where and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and Jeff and I had problems, especially at the beginning, I think because he's used to testing people for how much he can get away with. And
Jeff, I need your attention here because he will tell a fib. So just tell me.
And I battled him, trying not to give in to him. If he wanted to do something, I mean, if we were having an argument about something and he was insistent like he is with his mother at times, I would try not to give in. Not because it was giving in, but because I felt that was right.
How do you remember?
Well, I remember that me and Chris got along pretty well. He'd take me out a lot of the times because he'd always ride the bus and I'd always want to ride with him. So he'd always, well, hurry up, get up, do this, do that. And he always had this great big bed and I always had this little bed stashed away in this corner. So, you know, I thought it was pretty, you know, that's fine because I'm just a small little kid, it's gonna sleep in this corner. So I figured it was gonna be fine. After probably about a year of sleeping with him in the same room with the radio going all night, it started to bother me.
I know where I got it from.
Was his
That's-
radio very loud?
Huh?
Was his radio very loud?
Did I love him?
No. Was his radio very loud?
Oh,
I didn't. What bothered you about the radio?
the radio, okay. He slept right in the middle of the room, and I slept over in this corner. And the radio would be over on the other side of the room, so he'd have to turn it up so he could hear it at night.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't sleep from it, you know, so we both had our mishaps because I couldn't sleep from his radio, and he couldn't sleep from my nightlight. See? So we were just fine.
So how
Quid
did
pro quid.
how did it resolve?
David moved up to Reading and Bobby moved down.
Texas.
Yeah, I ended up.
Yeah. And so we split up rooms, and then we moved to
When
another
you
house.
couldn't you have said to Chris, you know, that he should put his radio lower or something? If he would say that, what would he say?
I don't know. I don't think I ever asked him that. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Did you say something to your father that you felt that he was unfair?
No, because he'd get mad at me because of my nightlight. So, I mean,
So how?
well,
how did
if I
you
asked
resolve
him,
that?
because I talked to Chris once. I can remember very vaguely that I talked to him. I asked him if he could turn off his radio at night. He said, if I turn off my radio, you're going to turn off your nightlight. Never talked about it again.
I understand that because what these kids are saying is something extraordinary. They are saying that they in effect resolved their issues without ever involving you. Because that is quite extraordinary.
I think we got involved a whole lot more than they remember, because I know that Jeffrey griped about Chris's radio to me constantly. I mean, I think that we were brought in a whole lot more than...
Because you see, what you are trying is complicated. And what I hear, at least as you four are describing it, seems to me very, very good.
I think what
Okay, Bobby, go ahead.
I think what happened was like the issue with Dave and I in the boxes being stored in our room. Okay, was Dad said that they were going to be done a certain way. Okay, and then Dave and I had to resolve that between ourselves.
Yeah, that's...
So, well, but Dad started it going like, let me see how I can put this.
I still feel that...
But we didn't resolve it between ourselves until Dad resolved it first.
Somehow or other, you're describing this couple as a very wise couple, and I just don't know many wise
Well,
couples. so
I
I'm
don't think
interested
it's
in
that. I think that your perception is literally very correct. I think that Bobby and Jeff only began to trust me as somebody who was going to be some kind of a permanent fixture in their life, and maybe this last year.
Yeah.
In Jeff's case, maybe as recently as the last 60 to 90 days since Donna began her therapy and we began to really see that there were some things. David moved out at the end of about 7 months of us being together, and so was removed from any need to communicate with me. And Chris and I have had, after about the first 4 or 5 months, a pretty solid relationship.
Well,
The only point that I was going to try and make is that in terms of the resolution of problems, I think that is very true. By and large, people only involve me when it is completely out of control, and they don't involve me directly. They involve me from the standpoint of here is a conflict going on which is disturbing everybody. Hence the policeman comes
Do
in.
they involve you?
Quite a bit. Either that or I've got my feet in it anyway.
And are you, how do you resolve it? Because, you know, when Bob talks, he talks like a person that, to whom people come as an arbiter, and he says is blah, blah, blah. And apparently everything resolves itself. Is that the same thing with you?
I think Bob is drawn into it a lot, and he usually finishes it. Good, bad, or otherwise, that's the end of it. And I get to the point with the kids, I would say with these 3 boys the most, because I didn't go through a lot of that with Chris, that I would handle it, I would try to handle it, and then I was never consistent, and I was never strong enough, and I was able to be, you know, what Jeff said is just, oh yes, do it, just get out of my hair, get out of my life, leave me alone, I can't handle the pressure, is kind of where I usually have been with the kids. And then Bob would come home and nothing would be resolved, and he would just cut it off right at the toes.
Yeah, but it seems a system that is functional, you know.
I don't like it.
You're a little bit inconsistent, and so he comes and he clears it up, and things seems functional. You seem to me a very normal family.
I don't think it
You know what?
functions that way well at all.
I think the problem is that if Dad comes home and he makes the decision, cuts it off, he makes the decision, and whoever's involved in the conflict, a lot of times they're not satisfied. There's a problem. A lot of times I think it's whoever's having the conflict, they do try to work it out.
Yeah.
And then it gets to a point where they're not working it out, and then everyone else is involved into it. Dad will come, he puts his foot down, makes a final decision, says, this is the way it is because you're not working it out yourselves.
And then everybody's
It
upset
seems to
too.
me his approach is,
It's always Dad's way.
no, I don't think
That's how
so.
I see it
I
all the
see it
time.
as, if you cannot resolve it, I will. That's how I've always, you know, it's like David and Bobby
Is
fighting.
that wrong? You
No,
know,
I don't think there is anything wrong.
you see,
You're giving
I
it enough
still,
of a chance.
You are a very complicated family, like many second, third marriages are, with kids coming from different groups, and you develop a style in which you two have decided that you will be stricter and that you will be a little bit softer, and that seems to work because people get a little bit mad with you and you minister for them. So seems that you are working things rather well.
I think
I don't think it.
Well,
I don't think it goes really well. It is.
No.
It has gotten
So
to the.
explain that to me, because
Okay.
you know, unless you demonstrate that I have a function, I don't have a function.
Okay, I've gotten to the point to where I feel like I'm going to lose it. That's the point that we were when
Who will you lose?
my sanity or whatever.
Your sanity,
right.
not Bob.
No, there was that fear for a long time, but that fear isn't there anymore.
Uh-huh.
But that was a real issue for a long time. That has been my pattern to just, you know, the weight gain. I weighed 116 when we got married, and that was 5 years ago today. And I weigh a whole lot more than that now. I have 80 pounds to lose. It's kind of like when there was not a crisis between Bob and I, the only thing that I knew how to deal with was crises, so I would create one so that he could leave me, and then I could say, see what a bad person I am, because my self-esteem was so low that I had to try to make the chaos. But with the family,
But please help me.
okay,
I don't know what is the problem. I see Jeff as a kid that likes to get away with things. Well, most kids are like that.
mhm.
So
To that extent.
so I don't understand what is the
I,
problem.
when this relationship was formed with all of us together, we each took roles that were best for us at that time. At least that's my belief. The only way I knew how to function with anybody was to lay the law down.
Mhm.
There was no real room for dialogue. I was unwrapped so much myself in terms of being together that all I knew to do was to lay that down.
So, Bob, you married a lady that feels comfortable with letting you do that.
But see, the problem is, I don't.
Is that not?
Well,
That's-
Are you not pleased with that? I don't know.
No,
No.
not anymore.
No,
Definitely
you're
not.
not pleased.
Not anymore.
No.
That's the way I think it was. I think that's the way it had to be when this family got together, when Bob and I got together. The kids didn't have any choice in it. They just sort of
Of
came along
course,
for the
they
ride.
don't.
Mhm.
But it's no longer a place that we can function anymore.
Means you don't like.
I don't like it.
And I don't
Bob
like it.
doesn't like it. I don't think the kids like
What do
it.
you want? What do you want to change?
I want peace in our family.
And-
I want to be able to be more consistent. I want to be able to be a stronger disciplinarian.
And Bob doesn't let you.
I think Bob would like me to be. I think as I have been learning to be, he reacts to that a little bit, even though I think that that is something that he really wants it
See,
to be.
because the question is that if he needs you as a buffer against his style, and you apparently your softer style, it's useful. So, are you? Do I understand well that you don't like that style now anymore?
Right. We don't like that style anymore, and we're
No.
trying to change that.
And how would you like to change Bob?
To change Bob?
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding.
No.
How would you like to change him?
I would like to be able to communicate with him more, which I think is partly, I've got to be able to change to do that also.
No, let me.
How change him?
Yes, I want you specifically to look at him as if you are a sculptor and he is marble, steel, clay, whatever you want to. What would you like? How would you like to change him so that life is a little bit better? I don't know. I think that Jeff will grow up and grow out of that, and clearly the kids are doing fine. So, what do you want to change?
I don't know.
Mhm.
I really don't know.
Are you going to ask him? Or are you?
No, I don't want to ask him. I want to tell him, but I
Oh.
don't think that I've ever really defined what I want it to change, but I don't think I've ever been able to figure out exactly what I wanted out of
Yeah,
it.
but you see, the question is that unless you start now, then Bob will tell you
Mhm.
in what way you should want him to change. And-
True.
And so,
That's true.
or you will ask Valerie, or so. Why don't you look at this man with an Adidas suit and tell what you want? How would you like to change him?
I would like you to let your wall down.
Can you talk a little bit louder? Talk with him a little bit louder.
Okay, I would like you to let your wall down. I feel that there's a wall there. I would like I don't know what I like. I would like you to open up to me more and let me know more of who you are and share with you. I would like you to communicate with me more and share with me instead of telling me all the time. Not all the time, but some of the time. This is really hard. I don't know. Physically, you're fine. I mean, I don't think I should change your face or anything like that, or your body. The things that I feel are emotional, and when we try to share, when we try to talk, I would like your guard to be down a little bit more. I would like to get to know you more than I do. I think that's changing now. This is real hard. I don't know I'm not that dissatisfied with you as a person. I don't
Think
know.
about specifics. Think about very little things that you would like him to change. Not big things. You know, you are all people that think such big things, and it's so difficult to change big things. Think about what would you like to change in Bob that is relatively small.
I don't know. Like a habit or something? Just,
Talk to them.
I don't know. I know there are things that you do sometimes that really irritate me, but right now my mind is a total blank and I don't know.
Why don't we go the other way? Why don't I suggest something for you? Maybe that'll open the door.
Now you're in trouble.
What do you think?
Okay.
You all right with it? In terms of a little thing, it would be important to me.
Louder.
It would be important to me that you begin to get up earlier in the morning so that I'm able to share that morning and we're able to function more as if we, the parents, are up when the young people are up. That would be a little thing.
We never share in the morning.
I understand that. One of the reasons that we can is that you aren't up in the morning for us to be able to do that.
Are you talking about being up and making lunches for the kids, or are you
No.
talking about when you go for a run, you want me to go with you?
No. I'm just talking about us being up and functioning. Okay. The sense I have is that as our morning breaks, okay, the kids get up and they go, and I get up and I go, and then you get up, and it's 4 individuals sharing the same house. Let's try and find a way for at least to be together sometime in the morning, to get up and begin functioning in the morning. It ties in with me wanting a lifestyle partner as opposed to the other kind of relationship that we had when we first got together. I'm looking for a partner, not a master-slave relationship. That means you need to be responsible for yourself, to be able to stand on your own feet, to be able to make decisions for yourself, rather than waiting for life to make decisions for you.
So he's now your preceptor. And is that what you like? That he should precept you?
I don't like that.
And why don't you change that?
I don't know how.
It's very simple. Tell him to stop it.
Stop it. Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, that
Well,
is...
why don't you change that part of him?
I think it has a lot to do with him being so strong and I'm not. It's real threatening for me.
No, that's not so. That's not so. There is a lot of strength in the position that you take. It just seems as if he's stronger. But your position is very strong, you see.
Okay.
You can change him if you want to change him, and he clearly can change you if he wants to change you. But I think that you are not very uncomfortable in that kind of arrangement that you have, because if you want to change him, you said to him when he becomes your preceptor, Bob, how old do you think I am? And then, since he sometimes hears when you talk, then he will feel embarrassed because he doesn't like too much that kind of authoritarian style that he has.
Mhm.
It functions with the kids, but you don't tell him.
I don't.
Yeah, so that's
I-
okay. So the question is, do you want to change him or not? If you want to change him, then I think it's very easy. But you just need to begin to work on him. Do you want to? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want it to be the way it has been in the past. I think it
Well,
is
it has been
changing
just
now.
no, but just now, just in this moment, he was being the preceptor and you were the dumb student.
And that's how I feel a lot. We talked about that this morning.
Are you a dumb student, or
No.
are you a dumb person and he's very bright, or what? Why do you take that? Because
I don't know why I take it, but I do.
But
yeah.
you don't like it, or
I
no,
do.
maybe you like it, or maybe that's what you want from him.
No, I don't like
Maybe
it.
you want a man with an Adidas suit. I don't know. You know, maybe that's what you like about it. Bob, that he's very what do you call them? Jockey or eh? Athletic. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very, very athletic.
And you like.
I like that, but I don't like it when he tries to make me be that way.
The question
And that's-
is, do you want to change it? Because the first thing that I am impressed is the fact that you really had managed with a very difficult situation relatively well. Now, I can understand that Jeff likes to be close to you. If you feel at times, dissatisfied with Bob's tenderness, then Jeff gives you a wonderful opportunity to be tender. So you are mom's teddy bear. Now, I don't know how long do you want to be your mom's teddy bear. Teddy bears grow up also. But some teddy bears don't grow up. How old are you, Jeff?
13.
13? Well, maybe, you are a 13 years old teddy bear. Maybe you will be a 15 years old teddy bear. Maybe you will be a 20 years old teddy bear, And maybe you will be a mom playing with a teddy bear if you don't change him.
I had never looked at it like that before.
The
That's-
truth is that Jeff looks more like a teddy bear than Bob. Maybe you can fatten Bob, and maybe Jeff could lose some weight, and maybe then you can play with him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Yeah.
you can soften him up.
Let him relax a little.
Overfeed him, and tell him whenever he becomes a preceptor, drop that nonsense.
I find that real threatening when I have to confront him with my feelings on something.
Talk with him and tell him how you would like him to change and what will you do to change him.
Get down and beg? I don't know. Oh, God, this is hard. I find it very, very threatening when I have to tell you how I feel about something that you're doing. Or I don't think I have ever told you when there have been times that you weren't filling my needs, something that I really needed from you, or support that I really needed from you. I've never ever been able to tell you that. I've never been able to share my feelings. It's a real threat for me to let you know. I'm afraid that you're going to just totally ignore what I'm feeling, or psychoanalyze why I'm feeling it, and then tell me how I should feel it. Sometimes I just feel like it makes me feel like I'm not valid.
Like what?
Like my feelings aren't valid. And it's real threatening for
That
me.
means your dad treats her like he treats you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he's right when he does that to you, and he's wrong when he does that to her. Means I don't know if it's right or not, but
Well, if they're happy that way, but
so he treats you like one of his incompetent kids.
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah.
Well, there are some people that like to be treated like that. I don't know, I will not ruin your fun.
No, I
That's
don't.
what's
I think when we first got together, that was real valid. That is what I wanted. I needed a big, strong father, and my needs are changing, and I don't need that anymore, and I don't want that anymore. And I'm learning that I'm a valid person too. Now I just have to share it with you more.
But that
But
doesn't mean
it's
that you
real
need to take it.
Understand?
You said that you want her to get up in the morning.
Mhm.
How will you do that? How will you make that to happen?
All I can do is request it. She can assume she can either do it or not. That's her choice.
No, that's too soft.
That's true.
Dump me out of bed.
That is all I am prepared to do in that regard. If I'm going to have her, if I want her to stand up and be her own person, all I can do is give her opportunities. All I can
No,
give
you
you is
see-
opportunities to stand up. And if you choose not to, then you choose not to. But that's all that I can do. If my need, and my need is for you to stand up and be an independent person.
No, you cannot do that. What you can tell her is what you want from her. You cannot tell her what she should do to herself. I want you to change her, not to tell her to change herself, because that's passing the buck.
I'm
But
telling
you
her what I want her to be.
No, tell her what you want her to do. You cannot tell her what you want her to be, but you can tell her what you want her to do. To be, but you said before you want her to get up in the morning so that you can have breakfast together, separate from the kids.
No, not separate from the kids.
You and her, and the
No.
kids.
Together as a family.
Okay, so you want that from her.
That's correct.
What's so difficult for you? Why is it difficult for you to get that?
I don't know.
Find out. She's here. Why is
I've
it so?
been, for 5 years, I've been
Yeah,
trying
but-
to find out.
So find
Yeah.
out today. Today is your anniversary. Maybe you have luck today.
Maybe. Why is it difficult for that to happen?
What?
For you to get up in the morning?
I don't know that it's been all that long that I have been doing that. It's just my perception that's just been a few months.
My perception is that it has been much longer than that.
You want that to happen tomorrow?
Mm-hmm. So tomorrow morning, will you get up in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay. You're right, I was lucky.
No, I think that would probably, you could have changed that aspect a week ago. Think that people get into grooves, into rods, and then you accept to continue like you are. See, I don't think that you will have any problem with Jeff moving out of the position of teddy bear if you find a way for you to change each other so that he becomes more satisfying to you and she becomes more satisfying to you. But if they don't do that, Jeff, your destiny is to grow up to be a large teddy bear. You know, it's some parents organize kids' lives so that they don't have any alternative. What will you be if you have a brother that is a teddy bear?
What will I be?
Yeah. Are you going to make him dance or whatever it is? And how is that you manage not to be mother's teddy bear and Jeff got himself saddled with that role?
I don't know, maybe he likes being the teddy bear. I don't know. I don't like just coming home and getting right into the middle of things with everybody. I like to go out and do my own thing And lately it's just been I'm at home. Well, I should say it used to be I was at home as little as possible. Lately I've been spending more time at home. But
So when you were as little as possible, then, and Dad was as little as possible, that left Mom with Jeff alone?
yeah, they're together a
So-
lot more than,
So they need each other.
yeah, Jeff gets home at least 2 hours before I do.
Mhm.
You know, I don't get home
Mhm.
lately until about 5 and 5:30, and Jeff's home by 3.
Andrea, what, you had come, what, a year ago to this household?
No, about 3. And I stayed with them a year. And then I moved out on my own, and I just recently moved back in.
How long ago?
About a month ago, I moved
Months
back
ago?
in.
How are the conditions for you?
Tolerable. I'm gone early in the morning until the afternoon. And I just kind of go through without really perceiving anything. I mean,
Why
I
not?
just kind of go on one level.
Means-
Because it's easier to hide that way. I mean, without having to deal with it.
Is that what you want to do till you find a new place to rest? Means
I don't know.
do you have contact?
Yeah,
How do you call her?
Mom.
You call her mom?
Yeah,
Okay.
most times.
Do you have contact with your mom?
Yeah.
Is it easy? And do you,
Yeah.
can you talk with her?
Mhm.
What about with him?
Not the way I want to. I can't talk to him the way I want to. I have a hard time dealing with it.
Why? What happened?
I don't know. I've always had a hard time telling him how I feel, and always being afraid that I'll be talked down and somehow I will be in the wrong position and he'll be in the right position.
You don't have that fear with,
No.
and that means can you be, whenever you need her, you find her?
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah.
Means then there will be a time in which your father will grow up to be a little bit different, or you will grow up to be more on his. But for a moment, she's available.
Mhm.
Is that okay then? See, I am a person that likes that people should stay where you want things to go, because then people can change. You know, I am certain that you can get up if he really wants you to get up. You know, I don't.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want you to get up, he will say it in such a way that you will not get up. You know, that you will stay and then you will play with your teddy bear. You know, but maybe if he wants you to change, then you will find ways in which you can change him. And if you want him to stop being your preceptor, you will just stop him. If you want him to be softer, you will change him. You know, I don't have any doubt that you can do that if you want to. What I don't know is if that is what you want, then you begin to try, and then you find out maybe he's more malleable than what you think.
I really think I do want it to change.
No, you want him to change, you mean?
Our relationship,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's very simple. You just will need to work on him.
Yeah. And state what I want.
Yeah, and stop him when you want him to stop. And play with him instead of with him. See, and if he's not available, then you will make him more available, and then she will not need you so much, and then you will just find other friends. This, do you have friends?
Mm-hmm.
You really have friends?
Mm-hmm.
Give me the name of 3.
See,
Fast.
Chris, John, and David.
Great. And these are people in your class?
Several classes.
And you go out to visit them? To their home?
One of them, Chris, I only go to his house.
Do they come to visit you?
Chris, only Chris.
Chris comes to visit you. Okay, that's great. So you will increase, you will go to visit the other people. What's the name? Is it Chris and
John and David.
John and David? If you will not be available.
Mm-hmm.
Means, not if you will not be available. If he will be available.
Mm-hmm. I got it.
You got it?
I think I hear what you're saying, yeah.
Okay.
That, yeah, good point.
Okay,
Good
I will.
point.
I will finish, but before I finish, just want to know, Jeff, if you have any questions. I hope that you feel uncomfortable with your role and don't let your mom need you so much. You know? David? Any question?
Not that I can think of.
Chris? Andrea?
I'm wondering, isn't that going to make Jeff try harder to manipulate my mom when he feels that she doesn't need him as much?
I disagree with Jeff as a manipulator. I think Jeff is trying what everybody tries, to have what he wants.
Mhm.
You like that, I like that, and so he tries that also.
But won't it be harder? I mean, what I get from Jeff is that there's a big dependency on his mom, and the way the way I'm hearing what you're saying is that if Dad changes, what keeps being brought up is that Mom won't need the teddy bear so much, and Jeff knows he's the teddy bear. So isn't that
He
gonna?
doesn't like to be a teddy bear.
Well, I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think he likes to be a teddy bear. Because, you see, teddy bears are manipulated. And he likes to be his own man.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think he likes it.
Okay.
But you did understand what I meant, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Bob?
I don't have any questions. I think that you've opened up some new doors
I
to
think
look
that
at, but I don't have any questions.
I think that you should be very grateful to Jeff. You know, I probably don't think that you appreciate how much he allowed you to move out by taking the responsibility on himself to help Mother while you moved out. Because he is a helper. I think that you have been looking at him in a very narrow way. I think that Jeff is a sensitive young man that responds to your moods. And he feels your pain. You know, so in that sense, he's a very sensitive teddy bear.
Mhm.
It's not just a teddy bear, but a very sensitive one. Any question?
How do you do it?
Oh, it's very simple. You ask him, he will tell you, you will say to him, that's not the way in which I want to be talked about.
You just take the risk and do it.
You know, maybe it is not so difficult.
Probably not as bad as I build it up to be. Yeah. I'm like Bobby. I think there's been some real doors open, for me anyway,
I think
to really take a look at.
I think we've always been afraid to talk to Dad because when we first got into this, with all of us being one big family, Dad was in a different space than he's in now. You know, he was more in a learning stage of how to take care of a family, especially a large family, you know. And he treated us differently than he treats us now. But yet,
We still
I
respond the
personally,
same way we used
yeah,
to.
I think that if I ask him, or if I want to talk to him, that the first thing I remember is the way he used to treat me, and the way he used to respond to my wanting to talk to him, which automatically puts me on the offensive, and I go talk to Mom instead.
You see, I think that the creation of a family like that is a very difficult job. And so you stumble. It's okay. You know, but then there are ways of, and you learn in the process. So you have to learn, everyone grows a little bit, and
Changes.
clearly you are ready to move. Bob, any question?
Yeah. Do I attempt to change myself because of something I perceive I should change, or do I wait for a specific request?
I didn't ask you to change yourself. I don't think that's possible.
Okay, so then that answers my question. I
For
change
me.
only as a result of a specific request. Okay.
I think it's very difficult to change without help. So
Thank you.
I think you need to change him.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yes.